Okay, we have our next keynote lecture 1, which is delivered by Dr. Salim Barbhuiya. Before I hand over the session, this is an online session. Sir is with us in online mode. So, before I hand over the mic to Professor Salim, let me give a brief introduction about Dr. Salim Barbhuiya. Salim Barbhuiya is a senior lecturer in Civil Engineering Department at the University of East London. He joined the University of East London in September 2021 after working as lecturer in Advanced Concrete Technology at the University of Leeds for 3 years. Dr. Salim Barbhuiya obtained his PhD in 2009 on structural materials from Queen's University Belfast, UK, where he investigated the use of an alumina industry byproduct in concrete production. While working at Curtin University, Australia, he was successful in securing $35,000 Australian dollars from industry to support his research. During his lectureship position at University of Leeds, he was successful in securing a funding from Royal Academy of Engineering on a project on collaborative research and capacity building on climate resilient concrete for marine environment. He has published more than 40 papers in recognized journals and 13 book chapters in the area of structural materials. He also presented his research work in a number of international conferences also. His research has attracted attention of research community as evident from more than 2,200 citations and H index of 22 in Google Scholar. With this brief introduction, I hand over the session to Professor Salim Barbhuiya. Sir, you may please share your slides. If you share your content, it will be visible to us.
Thank you very much. Let me share my. Yes.
Let me go ahead, please.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. It's a very early morning here in London. My name is Salim Barbhuiya, and as mentioned in the introduction, I'm a senior lecturer in the Department of Civil Engineering at the University of East London. And my today's topic is on nanomechanical characterization of cement-based materials. I'll very briefly talk about this topic. It is a very broad topic, but I'll give a couple of examples and show how we can use nanomechanical ways to characterize cementitious materials. First of all, those who are not directly related to cement and concrete, what is concrete? Concrete is basically a mix of coarse aggregate, fine aggregate, and water. Coarse aggregate could be gravel, stone, and fine aggregate could be natural sand or artificial sand, and cement could be different types of cement like ordinary Portland cement, rapid hardening cement, sulfate resisting cement. So there are different types of cement we can use. This is a volume fraction of each of the components. Cement in the range of 15%, water 8 to 10%, sand 32%, aggregate 44%. And sometimes there are inherent air content, or sometimes entrapped air is also used in some special concrete, such as concrete which should resist freeze-thaw resistance. Now, when we add water to cement, a reaction called hydration occurs. And as a result of hydration, various hydration products are formed. These are calcium silicate hydrate gel, calcium hydroxide crystals, and calcium aluminosilicate hydrate needle-like structures. Calcium silicate hydrate is a gel and it's fibrous in nature, and it is the main solid product of hydration and occupies more than 50% of the hydration product's volume. Calcium hydroxide, which is mineralogically known as Portlandite, is an hexagonal crystal and is colloidal in nature. Cash or hydrous calcium aluminosulfate sulfohydrate is needle-like structures, and these are also known mineralogically as ettringite. Now, today's topic is on nanomechanical characterization. Now, what does nano means and how small it is? You can imagine a strand of human DNA is 2.5 nanometer in diameter, A human hair is approximately 75,000 nanometer wide. A sheet of paper is 100,000 nanometer thick. 1 nanometer is about as long as your fingernail grows in 1 second. So you can imagine the length scale I'm talking about. Now, just for a comparison, if the diameter of a marble is 1 nanometer, the diameter of the earth will be 1 meter. So as I said, you can imagine the scale I'm talking about. A sheet of paper is 100,000 nanometer, a human hair is 75,000 nanometers. So the level I'm talking is extremely in a small scale. Now, why we need materials to be characterized at nanoscale, or why it's so important? Uh, there are long answers to that, but my short answer is that materials can have different properties at nanoscale. Some of them can conduct electricity and heat in a better ways. Some may be stronger. Some at nanoscale may have different magnetic properties. Some can reflect light better or change colors at nanoscale. Okay, the machine which we have used in this research to characterize the nanomechanical properties is known as nanoindentation. And it is a powerful set of tools for investigating local mechanical properties, mainly Young's modulus and hardness in a very small scale. What happens in nanoindentation, small loads and tips are used, so the indentation area may only be a square micrometer or even nanometer. And then the localized contact response of the materials are characterized. In principle, if a very sharp tip is used, which is used in nanoindentation, very sharp tip, and the tip length could be tip diameter could be in the range of 20 nanometer. So the contact area between the sample and the tip, and hence the volume of the material that is tested, is very small. So the only problem is how we should determine the indentation area. Now I'll show you a small video of how we can use this machine to grade the data. Here you go. So this is the machine, and this one is the sample, and load is coming from the top. And this is the Barkovich tip of 20 nanometer dia. This is the sample. And it is indenting, load is going up, then straight, and then going down. And this is the load in millinewton and deflection in nanometer. Then another indents at some 20 nanometer apart, and another one, at a distance of space of 20 nanometer. Similar, so in this fashion, we can make a grid of indents, which could be 100 by 100 or 200 by 200, as many as we want. Okay. Now, going back to the machine which is used is here. This is the machine. This is the other parts of the machine and the software. Determine these properties, we can exactly characterize the material at nanoscale. So hardness is a very simple thing, load per unit area, and Young's modulus is given by an empirical relationship. Again, I am not going in details about how these are derived, but these are well established empirical relationship, and we can determine the modulus of the material if we know the Poisson's ratio and Young's modulus of both sample and indenter, which we know already. And then as far as concrete is concerned, concrete at different scales can be considered as mortar plus crushed stone at 10 mm scale. Mortar is cement paste plus sand at 500 micron scale. At 2 micron scale, you can see it could be the product of or addition of or mix of calcium silicate hydrate gel, calcium hydroxide or portlandite, air buoys and other products of hydration. Now the calcium silicate hydrate, again at nano level, it can have different phases. Some people, they call it low density CSH and high density CSH. Some researchers, they call it high stiffness CSH and low stiffness CSH. But whatever they call it, we can differentiate, or we can find out the types of calcium silicate hydrate gel using nanoscale characterization. Now, one of the challenging part in nano indentation is the sample preparation. First, we prepare a 5 centimeter by 1 centimeter rectangular concrete or cement paste block, and then we cut these using precision cutter into cubes of 1 centimeter, and then we use epoxy to cast the material in plastic mold, and after 24 hours you will get a sample which is held in hardened resin like this. And because the surface is very porous in nature, what we do, we use impregnation method, and you impregnate with some colored resin, soft resin, because during the polishing it will provide the support to the sample. And this is the polisher. We use different types of papers. First, we use 1200 grit, 900 grit, 600 grit, and then we use various kind of polishing liquid, starting from 6 micron, 3 micron, 1 micron, and 0.25 micron polishing cloth. And in this fashion, we make the sample as smooth as possible, because smoothness otherwise will affect the results of nano indentation. Now, it is not possible to check all the points in the sample, otherwise it will be few thousands of nano indentation places. So what we did, we have done at 8 locations diagonally, which are at a distance of 300 micron from each other, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, and at each location we provide 10 by 40 indents. So altogether there will be 320 indents in one sample. This is to represent the whole sample. As I said, it is not possible to do the indentation on each and every point on the sample. We did only at 320 points diagonally, so that it represents the whole sample. Then we'll get a result something like this. For all the 40 indents, 39, 38, 37, 36, 35. So we'll get all the results like this. And then we use a Visual Basic program software program, and we use this one to get the results in the form of something like this. We'll get the result something like this, and then we feed the curve using some solver, and it's a long process, but just to let you know that the data collection and the data analysis is not so easy, and basically it's statistical analysis. And what we do in grid, this is now 1, this is 2, this is of modulus and hardness values are statistically analyzed to produce the frequency histogram, and best model fit to experimental results with multimodal normal distribution curves is produced using nonlinear square method. And for reference cement paste, we will have a results like this, where the blue ones are the blue diamond shaped are all experimental values, and pink line is the fitting of the curve. and we can fit this curve in 4 different phases. This one, black one, is model 1, which is loose calcium silicate hydrate gel. The red one is low density CSH. The green one is high density CSH, and blue one is calcium hydroxide. Now for cement paste containing 6% nanosilica, there is a shift in the proportions of low density CSH and high density CSH. And if we use 18% nanosilica, again, there is an increase in the calcium hydroxide content. This is the volume fraction, and it is a statistical analysis. So from this statistical analysis, we can calculate, for example, for reference sample with 100% OPC, sample with 9% nanosilica, sample with 18% nanosilica, we can get these values and volume fractions. So what we can conclude from this research is that it is possible to quantify the volume fraction of calcium silicate hydrate gel in cement matrix using nano indentation. The use of 6% nanosilica produced higher amount of high density CSH compared to OPC and 18% nanosilica. However, contact area of indenter and the specimen cannot be determined very easily, and these problems can be overcome by coupling nano indentation with AFM and SEM. Thank you very much for your attention. And do you have any questions?
Participants, are there any questions for Dr. Salim? Yeah. We have a few questions, sir. 1 second from the audience.
Thank you, Professor Salim, for your presentation on a new area. My question is that, in the laboratories, or we conduct Brinell's hardness number and Rockwell hardness test for mild steel and such specimens, metal, which has very significance for mechanical or aeronautical applications or machinery part of applications. First question is, what is the practical significance of indentation test for civil engineering application? Then what would be the number, hardness number? For example, for mild steel, hardness number is 120, Brinell's hardness number. Similarly, what type of indenter we are supposed to use for this particular test? Thank you.
So just to clarify that the Young's modulus and hardness we are measuring here is not the intention to determine the the Young's modulus and hardness of the material in bulk. What we are doing is we can determine the Young's modulus and hardness of material by simple tests in the lab, whether it's concrete or steel or whatever material. We can use very standard conventional methods. But what we are doing here is we are determining the localized at a very nanoscale hardness and Young's values of the material. And we are collecting this information to get other properties like in this case, the amount of calcium silicate hydrate gel. So the very intention is not to determine the Young's modulus, but to collect the Young's modulus values and then do some statistical analysis to find out some other properties. So in your case, if it is some steel or other things, yes, we can determine very locally, not in bulk, very locally what is the Young's modulus and hardness, and from these properties we can determine some other properties using some statistical analysis.
Thank you, sir. Are there any other questions for Dr. Salim? Sir, I have one question for you because I worked a little bit on nano indentation part. The problem with nano indentation is we need very high number of indentations. For example, in your case, the number is 320. But that doing that, it would take around 6 or 7 hours to do that much of indentation. Are there any methods wherein we can reduce the number of counts and the reliability of results can be increased? Are there any methods? to reduce, are there any methods so that with
Oh.
these many number of indentations, I can say that my results are
Yes.
fairly accurate?
Yes, well, it all depends on the type of materials we are using. For example, if we are using homogeneous materials, probably 100 to 200 data points are fine. But if we have a composite like cement or any other polymeric materials where the material is heterogeneous in nature, then obviously we need more than 100 indent points. And in my case, what I have found is that around 300, 400 indent points are quite good in terms of standard deviation and the variance. I found not too much, standard deviation in the data. So yes, the more the data points we have, the better repeatability or better the results are. Yes.
Thank you, sir. That's a nice thing. We have one more question from the audience.
Hello,
Yeah.
sir. Is there any standards are available, for example, for concrete? This type of concrete, this much is a sample size. Is there any standard available for that?
Yeah, there is no standard, but a lot of research is going on in various parts of the world, and we can use their methods. For example, people are doing in MIT, in Netherlands, and in UK, in various parts, in UCL. So we can take their references to see how what should be the procedure to do the test, and some standards, not standards, but the guidelines are there by the manufacturer of the indenter as well. So there is no universal standard like Indian standard or Australian standard or British standard or ASTM. There is no particular standard for that.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Yeah.
Are there any more questions to Dr. Salim? Okay. Thank you, sir. Thanks for this wonderful session. It was a very
Thank you.
interactive session. So we will meet
Thank
you in
you.
person in very soon time. We would like to give
Yeah.
the memento to you. It will be with us. So when you visit the next time to our campus, definitely we'll.
Yeah,
give it
sure,
to you.
sure.
Thank you,
sure,
sir. Thank you very
sure.
much. Thanks for your
Thank
time.
you. Bye, bye, bye.